I did 50 Cent for 4 years. In 2005, I left to start Guardian. I protected Eve was my first client with Guardian. Sierra at the time was headlining the tours, the Scream tour. I was with Sierra for a couple of years. That led to T-Pain. I was with him for a couple of years, and that's when Pain had, I think he had 13 number ones in 1 year, the year of T-Pain. All the while I was protecting all these people, I was gaining other clients. I gained Lil Wayne, so I became Lil Wayne's bodyguard. So a mixture of me being in the clubs and me being on the road, I was able to get other clients, Shawn Mendes, Austin Mahone,
Alicia Keys, Pharrell, Ariana Grande, the Kardashians.
But as I'd get these clients, I'd work them first and show them this is how Guardian does it. Before you know it, now we've got 23 bodyguards right now around the world, 24/7, around all those names I just mentioned. My guys are living in their houses every day. They're with them 24 hours a day, 365 days a year around the world. So a lot of these guys say that I bodyguarded this and I bodyguarded that. They're all full of shit. They bodyguard a client for one night in a nightclub and they say, oh, I'm this guy's bodyguard. No, you walked into his table.
When life throws you a curveball, how are you going to handle adversity? Welcome to the Fearless Mindset Podcast, where you're about to go on a journey as I interview security, business, and entertainment leaders on what it takes to stay fearless. I'm your host, Mark Ludlow, and enjoy today's episode.
You know, you brought up a really great point. You know, I've been seeing a lot of LinkedIn stuff about more people, corporations wanting people with a medical background than ever before, asking for that background. Because if you think about all the cases and shootings in EP, there isn't any, but medical happens all the time. Injuries, car accidents, or seizure. And I think I've seen some schools starting to push that. I think Source is starting to push that more on his page as I see that. But I think the young people are so fantasized by, you know, the shooting and the J hooks and all that. That's fun. Yeah, I enjoy that too, being a Marine. But I think we're seeing a shift in what the clients want. They'd rather have somebody with a medical EMT background or maybe a paramedic or basic life-saving skills versus, yes, nice, you went on the gun range and all that, but can you save my life? Can you get me to the hospital?
100%, man. And it's, you know, it's definitely been more now than ever I've noticed. And not only that, but, you know, also for their family members. You know, a lot of what we do with, especially on celebrity protection, is we have their estate. So we're responsible not only for the artist or the athlete or the executive, but their children. You know, you gotta be able to be trained in every single aspect that you can. Now, I'm not saying everybody should be an EMT. Does that help? Absolutely, it does. But not just because you're EP doesn't mean you must have that. But some kind of advanced medical training, certification, trained by somebody who's a professional in their field. Like, for example, we have the city of Hollywood, Florida here, fire rescue. We've got the chief that comes in here every quarter, and I'll pay him to just train my guys for, like, you know, it's called advanced medical training. We're dealing with tourniquets, we're dealing with stop the bleed, things like that. So the basic CPR, first aid, AED, infant, adult, children, all that, but also advanced medical training. That's definitely a big plus for any executive that's trying to get in the industry, because like we talked about earlier with the broker thing, like, you don't, wow, you can do that too. Like, it also shines a different light. So when you see guys that look like us and they say, oh, by the way, I've got this kind of certification, or here's my bio with it, your bio is probably going to be picked before the guy that doesn't.
Right. Yeah, I love the fact that you do that every quarter. You have the chief of the fire department over there. That's great. You got to have that training, and that's good. You're pushing the medical side. I mean, you can always go to the gun range and shoot your pistol or whatever. And I got to know your thoughts on what do your clients think when they vet people, because your industry is more word of mouth, obviously, for the clients you have. But do they make comments like I watched a video and it's not real, or do they make comments about different EP bodyguards they've had in the past, and they like your service and they compare it to other people? And do you ever have conversations like that with you?
Well, the client, usually the principals wouldn't really mention that because, you know, they don't want to get into the dirt. But you'll hear it from the management, and you'll hear it from the workers. You know, you might hear it from the chef, you might hear it from the manager, you might hear it from their director of operations, where they're like, oh, wow, we're so happy you guys are here. You know, the last company never did this, the last people never did that. And to be honest, Mark, it's like a lot of the stuff is security 101. Like, what do you mean they didn't advance a venue before they got there? Like the most basic things, but I haven't really experienced it from the principals themselves, but I have heard it often from the people around them.
Got it. I know we've seen a lot of changes in the industry. Congratulations on the growth. You told me you guys blew up last year, and then the year before was a little slow. What was involved with that growth and the stagnation? Is just the economy shut down with pandemic?
Yeah, exactly. So we've always substantially grown fairly well, like anywhere from 5 to 20%, usually around the 10 to 12%, maybe 15 if we're good, from 2005 up until the pandemic. And in 2019, we were awesome. We were on fire. Biggest every year were bigger numbers than the year before. We never had a down year. We never even had a sideways year. But we never had a tremendous jump either. It's always been slow and steady, constant growth. And I think that's the best way to build a foundation for a company. And I know this is a podcast, but I don't care. I want people to hear this private information.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were down 64% in 2020. Ooh. So you got a company that's going like this, 10 or 15% every year, and then 64%. So now you imagine hundreds of employees down 64%. That means their income's down 64%. So you start losing guys. And the reason for that was because of the common sense reasons people might be thinking when they hear this podcast. We were shut down. There was a freaking plague, we talked about celebrity protection. There were no tours going on. Every tour, and I would see on the company calendar, they canceled this tour, that tour, this tour. And I just started seeing them fall off the calendar. And then the tours, when you're touring, you're on the road. That's when the guards make the most of their money because it's 24/7, 365. Well, as long as the tour goes. But you go back up. If you do like a North American tour, you go to South America. From South America, you go over to Europe, and all that just stopped. So on a tour, I'll have anywhere from 1 to 4 guards. Now they're not working. And then as far as the sports go, we do Major League Soccer here, the stadium, the Inter Miami CF, no fans. So instead of 170 event guards, I've got 5, so because there's nothing to protect. It's a bubble. So that's why we went down so bad. And I'll be honest with you, I was extremely depressed in 2020. I just bought a house.
Oh, wow.
A house is your biggest investment, right?
Oh, yeah.
What timing? But then luckily, fortunately, the PPP loan came out. The vaccine came out. I live in Florida. So Florida opened a lot quicker than most people did. So 2021 came in and we had a 100% growth. Wow. From 2020 to 2021, over 100%. And 2022, we just wrapped the numbers over 50%. So 150% growth since the pandemic. But I'm not gonna. But our backs were against the wall. We were thinking, shit, this might be Chapter 11 time. But
wow.
But then it was really bad. All the years of hard work, all because there's a plague and there's nothing to do. But like I said, fortunately, being in Florida, getting the vaccine out there, opening up quicker than most people, getting that PPP loan, these are all the things that helped us out. And for the most part, I'd say at least 90% of the guys, maybe more, 95. When I say guys and girls, have came back to Guardian now, and then we've been cruising ever since. But it was definitely a very scary year for us.
Yeah, it was brutal because we were rocking and rolling, and I was so busy before that. I was traveling all over the place, flying, and all of a sudden, I think I worked out more at home than I ever had because I just started walking 4 or 5 miles every day, just trying to stay in shape. And then it was like, okay, now what do I do? And then that's when I launched the podcast. Like, okay, can't do anything on the roads. I might as well do something with myself.
Do something, right? Don't be static. You got to do something. And I'm here at the training center. This is not our office. This is our training center. And on the other side of that wall, we have our own private gym, and it's only open to Guardians. So during the pandemic, all the gyms were closed down too. But we were all in the best shape of our lives. That's all we had to do. You couldn't go to the bar to grab a beer, so no one had beer bellies. You couldn't go out to restaurants because restaurants were shut down. So you were eating clean and you were lifting every day. And yeah, we were, financially we were dying, but physically we were the best we've ever been.
Yeah, that was a scary time. I launched my security company in the middle of the pandemic. Everybody said, "You're crazy." I'm like, well, this is going to come to an end, and we're going to go back to work. So now is the time to market, and push.
I agree. But you know what it also did, Mark? The way I look at it, it set a reset button, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of smaller companies, or a lot of companies that I've noticed, even the big ones, a lot of them got bought out by other ones that got bought out by, and then a lot of small ones ended up getting fizzled out and having to do other things. And it's sad because we were 64% down at one point. We could have been those guys.
Yeah, it's true.
But only the strong survive, you know? So I think that's why we've experienced such the amount of growth that we have in the last 2 years, is because we stuck it out. We stuck it out. Failure's not an option.
Right.
What else am I going to do, Mark? This is all I know. You know, it's not like I could say, hey, sorry, all of you Guardians, I can't help you. We got to shut down. No, they depend on you. So when your back's against the wall, that's sometimes when you do your best work. And we were able to come back stronger than ever. And now we're at an all-time high, and hopefully we'll stay on that path. But yeah, it was definitely a very, very difficult time, very depressed mentally. And, you know, in our industry, mental health's a big deal. So it was a lot of dark nights, but thank God, you know, it's over.
How many employees do you have now?
So we've got about five divisions, but really the three-headed monster is the one I talked about: residential, commercial, concert event. So like Formula One, Ultra Music Festival, Super Bowls, like those are those guards. Even like the small things like bar mitzvahs, doesn't matter. So concert event, and then we got the CPEP. So if you were to add them up, it's seasonal. I would say about 320, 330 at this moment. Out of those, 50 of them are EP guys.
Wow,
and then,
that's impressive.
Thank you. And then out of that number as well, about 75 are your residential, commercial. You know, the Paul Blart Mall Cop guys.
Right.
The rest are event.
So I got to ask you this, Anton. What do you see the future of EP and the risk out there? We got a new year, we got a new House and a Senate, we got that political issue, we got the open border. What are the risks you see facing, you know, corporate security, the event side, sports? Do you think it's going to be a polarizing year? Do you think we're going to need more security, a higher level quality security? What's your thoughts on that stuff?
Absolutely. I think that our industry, unlike a lot of others, is recession-proof. And I think that, you know, along with the population increasing and along with the different rules in different states and people getting away with murder, basically, a lot of people are just not going to leave it to the hands of the law and law enforcement and politicians. If they have the money, they're starting to bring it in-house, I've noticed, especially on the estate side for estate security. And I think that the future of our industry is bright, because I think that, like I said, it's recession-proof. And if you look at these major players, these high net worth and these ultra high net worth individuals that are not leaving it in the hands of anyone else, but taking it into our own hands, I feel like there's going to be a lot more opportunity for us in the future. I'm a big fan of subcontracting. I think when you find good groups, you mentioned Joe LaSource, he's a great guy. You find guys like that, you find guys like yourself, you find guys that you have a good relationship with, that you trust. You know, you might have something that you can use their help on at a time where you might not be doing anything, and vice versa. You know, you might say, hey, Anton, do you got anybody for this? And I think if we continue to do that with people that we trust, and we have the right paperwork in line to make the lawyers all happy, I think that will do nothing but bode well for our industry, because it'll bring unity, and it'll also bring work for guys on all ends. So where whatever's good for the guards or good for the companies, you know, a company's only as good as the people that make it up. So I think that if you keep them happy, the future will be bright for them. And I think the way we're going to continue to get all this work is by staying on a diplomatic path, you know, as far as doing the right thing morally and ethically, but also by finding relationships like this to where you can work together and create more income for all your people.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm in agreement with you there, Anton. I mean, I'm a boutique company here in Oregon, but you're right. I laugh at people think, oh, you must do a lot of business in Oregon. Like, Oregon is 5% of my business. Most of my stuff's outside of state, just how it is. Well, well, your company's in Oregon. You should probably have all your business in Oregon. I'm like, no, that's the way the security industry works. You staff wherever it's needed.
Right.
And
I mean, we're Miami. We say it's Miami. We're 25 minutes north of Miami, but we're a Miami-based company, and we do have a small cluster of guys in Atlanta. We got a cluster of guys in Chicago, and a cluster of guys in San Diego and LA. So we're spread out a little bit, but that's 10% of our, and that's all EP stuff. But we're fortunate enough to be in Miami, which I believe is a hub for this industry. And it's just becoming a bigger hub, especially with the Caribbean exposure and all these nonstop flights now coming over from Asia even. So I think that, I memean, that's on the board. I think that, New York, LA, Miami, when people think, oh, you're a Miami company. Yeah, but a lot of our guys are on the road being gypsies every day, just like I have, or they're living with their clients in their state, wherever they live. So, just because you're headquartered in one place doesn't necessarily mean that that's where your guys are. They're spread all throughout, like we talked about, 250 passport stamps. They're spread everywhere.
I hear South Florida's exploded like LA used to because everybody's moving in with their business income and their business licensing, and it's like becoming the new Dubai or something like that. Is that kind of accurate?
I hate it, man. I hate it. I've been down there my whole life. I'm 45. I was here for 44 years. My parents are immigrants, so landed in New York. I was born, been down here since I was like a year and a half. This is all I know. So I've seen it. I've seen the changes of when there was nothing but swamp, and then I've seen the Cuban boat lift, and I've seen the influx of the cocaine cowboys, and I've seen all of that. I've been through all the hurricanes, and I've seen it all. I've never seen anything like this. There's more people from out of town now than ever before. And I think the reason why you're getting a lot of California companies and a lot of New York companies coming down here is because our governor is a lot more free and a lot more pro-business. So I feel like, I'm not going to get into politics, but let's face the facts. He did open up quicker, and we don't have a state tax down here, and it's beautiful, and the weather's great. And so that's why everybody's coming down. But the problem with that is everybody's coming down. Like I saw this one guy that had a sweatshirt on that said, Florida's closed. And I
Florida's closed.
I was like, I love that shirt, man. I wait, like, stop coming down here. We're closed. And you could see it just like, my sister moved down from Maryland, and she had to move all the way to Melbourne, which is 4 hours north, because she couldn't find an apartment down south because it's so expensive. And just where I live now in Broward, there's like 5 cranes. I'll go running for I do like a little 4-mile run. I don't run the whole time. I do a lot of walk, as you can tell. But as I'm running, I feel like there's a new crane like every time I go out. There must be 5 different cranes up right now. So yeah, Florida is exploding because there's no state tax, because everybody moved down, because we opened up quicker, and everybody. If you go to like a Inter Miami soccer game, which we protect, we also help out with the Dolphins and Hurricanes. You'll see, like, if it's a New York team down here, it's like 50-50. Like in the crowd, it wasn't always that way. So, yeah, I wish that Florida was closed, but unfortunately it's not. And being a native damn near, it's frustrating to see that it's like, it is what it is.
Yeah, I heard there's a lot of crypto companies went down there, tech companies that moved down there. Everybody's, they want that tax break, so they want to reposition.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you have any, I know you got a time slot for everything. How much time are you good for?
I got a 12:15 Zoom for a client.
Okay. We'll wrap this up here in a couple of minutes for you. Any parting words for the audience, Anton, on just advice, suggestions? People, want to run a business. You ran a business and you got through the pandemic. Now you guys are thriving. Just pay your dues out there.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, just to retouch on the advice I give everybody is, don't go for the flashy stuff. Work hard, be humble, treat every client like it's your biggest. Everything that I mentioned before. And the only thing I will mention as well is, we talked about, you and I spoke about this in Vegas, about the celebrity protection industry and how that's probably a lot worse than the executive protection industry right now, and it is. But I talked about going to schools, and my goal this year is keep the company thriving like it is, but I'm also going to start teaching at EPI, Executive Protection Institute, for celebrity protection. We'll be out in New York. We'll will be up there having a 6-day course up there. And I think that anybody that's looking to get into it, it behooves them to get in there, because I think you guys could tell by this podcast, and if anybody that knows me knows, I'm just going to keep it real, and I'm not going to BS, and I'm not politically correct, and I shoot from the hip. So if you really want to learn how this industry is, and you do want to get a good base on the how-tos, not only the cool stuff like, wrestling on the mats and shooting at the range, but the small stuff, the details. I'm going to focus on that this year to make it my goal to finally finish my curriculum and start teaching up there. So as I run the company, we've got the right captains in place. Anybody that's looking to get into that, keep your ear out for that. I'll post it on LinkedIn and stuff like that.
Yeah, where can people find you? On LinkedIn mainly? That's kind of the best place to find you?
Yeah, again, I'm not the best, man. I wish I was better with social, but LinkedIn, Anton Kalaydjian, there's not many of us. I think I'm the only one in America.
Right.
So find me, Anton Kalaydjian, Kalaydjian. Or, I don't really look at the Instagram, like I told you, it's a non-event, but I guess LinkedIn is the best way to find me, or just go to our website. If you go to the info button, it comes to my email, and the website's protectedbyguardian.com.
Got it. Okay. And folks, if you're listening to this podcast on Apple Podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and the 5th person to leave a comment, positive, we hope, and make a comment on that, I'll send you a $100 gift card, and my team will track that. And we're on all the social media, or not social media platforms we are, but we're on all the Apple podcasts, or all the podcasts. So you can find us there. And before we got a few more minutes, you good for 3 more minutes? You said 12:15?
Yeah. I'm good.
Okay. I was going to say, I wanted to tap into this. What is the secret recipe in working with the celebrities? I mean, I worked with quite a few of them in LA, and, usually your principal, your celebrity usually has a chief of staff, executive assistant, and then all the people who work around that. And they're what I found is their job is protect their boss, which is that principal, from you. And they kind of put you through a little mini boot camp to see how tough you are. They sometimes, I found that they play little games and stuff to test you out. Is that kind of an accurate description of that circle?
I think not from in my experience, only because when we do work for a client, it's word of mouth, so they know that what they're getting when we walk in. But my suggestion when you're dealing with celebrity protection is, other than the major things that I talked about, working hard, treat every client, but just shut up, don't talk. A lot of people think that, you got to think about it. These celebs, they've got lights, camera, action in their face. Everything they say is being ridiculed on the comment zone on social media, and they can't go to Starbucks without having 50 or 60 kids waiting for them outside for selfies. And they, the press wants to, get what they can. Everybody's a taker. In the celebrity world, a lot of people are takers. Be a giver and be quiet. I bodyguarded Jimmy Iovine for a while. And he had, I don't know if anybody knows who he is, but Google him. He's one of the biggest guys in music. His career is amazing. But he was a smart guy. He managed a lot of guys. He was an engineer for guys like Springsteen, down to guys like Dr. Dre. He's done it all. And he used to say a saying that I always remembered. So I'm quoting him. It's not, I didn't make this up. But be of service. Just be of service. Don't be a taker. Be a giver. How can I be of service? How can I protect you? How can I make you happy? When you're in the car with them, speak when they speak to you. If they're having a conversation in the back seat with somebody else, you're not part of that conversation. If they're with their kids, don't play with their kids just to, show look at what a great guy I am. Just be yourself and be of service if you're dealing with the celebrity protection world. That's how you find longevity, Mark. I've had the same client. I just worked with a client we mentioned earlier. I haven't seen that guy in years. 20 years later, I'm working for him. I've got clients that have been with me for 16, 17 years. And people ask, how the hell did you last that long with that client? Number one, artists and celebrities, you don't know how high their trajectory is going to go. They might be on top of the world one day, like Gangnam Style, and then boom, you don't hear about them again. So the fact that they're relevant that long, and the fact that you've been there the whole time, I get asked that question often, Mark. And the answer is just be quiet and be of service. And if you can manage to do those two things, then you'll last a long time in this industry.
And whatever you do, don't ask for a selfie. And whatever you do, if you're an EP agent, do not ask for a selfie. You're working.
I will kill somebody if he asks. I will.
Oh my gosh!
Never ever. No, it's disgusting what you see now. You see people trying to get into the frame, and but it's that way at Thanksgiving. Oh, I saw you with what's his name, and I saw you at the Grammys with what's his, and they want that. A lot of these younger guys, they want that. Not necessarily younger guys, older guys too. It's disgusting. But nah, that's another thing. Don't get me started with that, Mark. I can't deal with that. I call them posers because it's a double entendre. They're posing for the picture, but they're also posers because they don't belong in this industry. So yeah, I try to stay away from that. And by the way, clients see that. Artists, celebs, they see, like if they have a social, you have a social, they ask for it. They want to see if it's private, and if it's public, they want to see what kind of pictures you have there. And if you look like a groupie, then you're not gonna get the client. So yeah, that's a whole other thing. That's
another story
about the honor.
That's another podcast in itself, right there.
Yeah.
Because I remember you telling me that made you pretty sick. Just the things that have changed in this industry. It just makes you feel nauseated because you work so hard to earn the respect of so many of your clients.
Yeah,
people just don't take it professionally.
They don't. But I still have hope. That's why I'm going to start teaching that curriculum, because I still have hope that there's some, and like I said, at the top level, there's still guys like us, that are still. So I'm not totally giving up on it.
Well, with that, we'll wrap this up, folks. This is Anton with Guardian, right? Guardian out there in Florida.
Guardian Professional Security, or just Guardian Security.
And he's been in the game for many years, and you can check him out. He's on YouTube and, of course, LinkedIn. And this is Mark Ledlow with the Fearless Mindset Podcast. And please make a comment on Apple Podcasts. And again, you can find me on all the podcast platforms. And thanks for tuning in, and thanks for supporting the show. And thanks for supporting Anton and his career. And if you're young and getting in this industry, replay this podcast, because there's a lot of gold nuggets that Anton dropped, and you can learn from it. So we'll see you on the next episode, and thanks for tuning in.